My name is Imogen Hart, and I was 43 the morning I sat in a packed auditorium and watched a man I had trusted stand under a spotlight and call 2 years of my nights and weekends his own vision. He never said my name, not once. He clicked through my slides, spoke my sentences back to 1,000 people, and let them applaud him for the thing I had quietly built alone. I did not stand. I did not shake. I folded my hands in my lap and I smiled because I already knew something he had forgotten. And by the end of this, so will you. Before I go on, if calm, patient stories like this are the kind you enjoy, I'd love it if you subscribe to Revenge Lab. And tell me in the comments where you're watching from and how your day is going. I mean it. Whatever's on your plate today, I hope it's a gentle one. Now, back to the story. Let me back up. I ran integrations at a mid-sized logistics software company called Veril. Not glamorous. My job was the plumbing, the quiet machinery that let our customers' warehouses talk to our platform without everything catching fire at 2 in the morning. 2 years earlier, our biggest client base had started leaving. Every night, orders would silently drop. Nobody could find why. It was killing us slowly, and it was the kind of problem that doesn't make anyone a hero because if you fix it, nothing dramatic happens. Things simply stop breaking. I fixed it, alone mostly, across 700 nights. I rebuilt the whole handoff layer, the part where our system and a customer's system agree on who they are before they trust each other. I called it the bridge. My manager was a man named Colin, charming in the way that costs him nothing. He had a talent for standing near good work at exactly the moment it started to shine. For 2 years, he told me the bridge was our little project, and told everyone above him it was a team effort I'm shepherding. I let him. That was my first quiet decision, though I didn't know it yet. The company gathered everyone, remote teams flown in, the board in the front row for the annual all-hands. Colin had a slot, 15 minutes. He opened with a video, my architecture diagram, animated. Then he said the sentence I will remember on my deathbed. 2 years ago, I saw where this company was bleeding, and I made a decision to build something nobody else believed in. Asterisk I made a decision. Asterisk not asterisk we. Asterisk certainly not asterisk she. Asterisk. He walked them through the bridge like a tour guide in a house he'd never lived in. He got 2 things slightly wrong, small things, the kind only the actual builder would notice. But nobody in that room knew enough to catch him. Nobody except me. The board loved it. The CEO, a tired, decent man named Ravi Dunmore, nodded slowly the whole time. And here is the first small mystery I'll leave with you. Why did I feel calm? Not numb, calm. I want you to hold on to that. It matters. Afterward, in the hallway, Colin found me. He was glowing. You did good background work on that, he said. Really solid support. He clapped my shoulder, then lower, almost kind. Optics up there have to be simple, Imogen. One face, you understand. I did understand, better than he knew. I want to tell you about my badge. It was an ordinary access card, my photo, my name, a chip, a lanyard gone soft from 3 years of wear. To Colin, to everyone, it meant the same thing it means to you. It opened doors. It let me into the building. That's all a badge is. But months earlier, when I'd rebuilt the bridge, I'd made a decision about how the system would prove asterisk itself asterisk to our customers' systems. The trust between 2 machines has to be anchored to something. I had anchored it. Temporarily, I always told myself, just until we hired properly, to a credential that lived on hardware. On a physical token. The token was inside the chip on my badge. Not a secret I hid. A shortcut I'd flagged, in writing, 4 times, asking for budget to replace it with something proper. 4 times Colin had written back, asterisk low priority, revisit next quarter. Asterisk 4 times he'd filed my warning under things that didn't make him look good. So the badge on my chest, the one Colin thought only opened doors, was the door. Every night at 1:14 a.m., the bridge woke up, reached for that token, proved to 1,000 warehouses that Veril was really Veril, and went back to sleep. Silently, invisibly. Nobody knew, because when something works, nobody looks at it. Hold that image. A soft lanyard, a quiet chip, 1,000 warehouses that trust it and don't know its name. 9 days after the all-hands, I was invited to a meeting with Colin and someone from People Operations named Tricia. The word they used was *restructuring. My role was being absorbed. The bridge, Colin explained gently, was mature now and stable. It basically runs itself. He actually said that. It basically runs itself. He'd made himself the visionary of a thing so finished it no longer needed the person who built it. That was the trap he'd walked into, and he'd built it himself, brick by brick, believing every brick made him safer. They gave me, until end of day, to clear my desk. Colin walked me out, not because he had to, because he wanted to be seen doing it, managing the moment. Optics. He stood by the elevator with his arms crossed and that patient, sorry not sorry face while I put a photo and a dead succulent into a box. At the security desk, the guard held out his hand for my badge. And this is the part I've turned over 1,000 times since. I could have said something. I could have warned them one last time the way I'd warned them 4 times before. A decent person would have. But I had warned them. In writing, dated, 4 times, and every time the answer had been you don't matter enough for this to matter. So I unclipped the lanyard, and I set the badge in the guard's palm, and I watched Colin watch me do it. He gave me a small nod, gracious in victory. He thought he was taking my access. He was taking the anchor. I said, "Take care, Colin." And I meant it in a way he wouldn't understand for 11 days. Here is what nobody in that building understood on the day they walked me out. When you deactivate an employee's badge, you don't just stop at opening doors. You revoke the credential on the chip. Instantly. Everywhere. That's the whole point of security. The moment someone's gone, their key is dead. At 5:02 that evening, Tricia in People Ops did exactly what her checklist told her to do. She clicked *deactivate. *clean, correct, routine. She had no idea she'd just cut the one thread the entire nightly handoff hung from. Neither did Colin. Neither did anyone, because the only person who knew was carrying a cardboard box across a parking lot in the rain. I drove home. I made tea. I did not send an email. I did not warn them. I had done that already 4 times and been told I was low priority. At 1:14 a.m., the bridge woke up, reached for a token that no longer existed, and could not prove that Veril was Veril. By 1:15, it had quietly stopped trusting anyone. By morning, 1,000 warehouses had stopped talking to us. They didn't call me the first day. Colin, I learned later, told the engineers it was a transient issue, and that the bridge basically runs itself, it'll self-heal. It did not self-heal. Nothing about it was automatic. It only ever looked automatic because someone had built it by hand and then been erased. Day 3, the biggest customers were escalating. Day 5, the board was asking Colin, the visionary, the man who'd stood in the spotlight and said I made a decision to explain why his signature achievement had gone dark. He couldn't. He didn't know how it worked. He'd never known. He'd only ever known how to stand next to it. On day 8, someone finally found my 4 warning emails in the archive. Dated. Specific. Each one describing precisely this failure, and each one answered by Colin with low priority, revisit next quarter. That was the reversal, and I didn't lift a finger to cause it. Colin had spent 2 years making himself the single face of the bridge. He got exactly what he wanted. When it failed, there was only one face for it to fail on. His. On day 11, Ravi Dunmore, the tired, decent CEO, called me himself. Not Colin, not Tricia, the man at the top on my cell at 9 in the morning. He didn't grovel. He was too honest for that. He said quietly, "We got something badly wrong, and I've read your emails, all 4 of them. I'd like to understand what happened from you." I could have made him beg. I didn't need to. I told him the truth, plainly, where the anchor lived, why it lived there, that I'd flagged it 4 times and been overruled by the person who'd taken the stage. I didn't editorialize about Colin. I didn't have to. The dates did it for me. I came back as a contractor, on my terms, for a number that made the 2 years of unpaid nights look like the theft they'd always been. My first act was to build the proper replacement I'd asked for 4 times, so the company would never again hang its survival on one soft lanyard around one overlooked person's neck. Colin was not in the meeting where I explained the fix. Colin was not, by then, at the company. Nobody walked him out. That would have required someone to care enough to make it a moment. He simply stopped appearing, the way the orders had once silently dropped, there one night, gone the next, and no one quite able to say when. They offered me his title. I said no. I'd learned that the person standing in the spotlight is the easiest one to remove. I wanted the thing he never understood was worth more, to be the one the whole machine quietly can't run without, and to be paid, in daylight, for exactly that. On my last day as an employee, my badge had meant asterisk they can send me away. Asterisk. I keep it now, that old deactivated card, in a drawer at home. The chip is dead. It opens nothing, and it is the most valuable thing I own because of what it taught me. A key is only worthless to the people who never bothered to learn what it unlocked. They clapped for the wrong person in a room full of 1,000 people. But rooms forget. Systems don't. And the quietest person in the building is very often the one holding the thread that everything else, unknowing, hangs from. I don't need anyone to say my name from a stage anymore. I know what I built. And now so do they every single night at 1:14 a.m., when it works and no one has to think about it at all. That, it turns out, was the whole reward. Not applause. Just the silence of a thing that runs because I made it and because they finally know it. And that brings us to the end of today's story. If you stayed with me all the way to the end, thank you, truly, thank you for watching. I know your time is precious, and it means more than I can say that you spent some of it here with me. If quiet stories like this one, patient people, and the truth winning softly, are the kind you'd like more of, I would be so grateful if you subscribed to Revenge Lab. No pressure, ever. However you found your way here today, I'm glad you did. Take gentle care of yourself, and thank you again, so sincerely, for watching all the way through.